Welcome to Nerd Jocks, the laser tag podcast. I'm Mischief.
Sergeant Tucker.
Slaughtermelon.
And we're going to go over 5 more players and how they are right now as of 2018. And we're going to start with Trinity, which her code name is changing all the time.
I was about to say, I think right now it's Goldfish.
Goldfish, yeah. Everyone had to change for a team name. But What are you guys' thoughts on Goldfish?
Definitely the amount of improvement I've seen and I know this is like a really cliche thing to say, but the amount of improvement I've seen is pretty nice. A few things to work on, I would say for sure, just playing against Goldfish in game. One of the biggest mistakes I see is just constant, when I don't make a trail and she has a reset on me, she won't go for me. So that's just something to keep in mind, something to learn in the future, but
yeah, you know what? I think she needs to just learn the rules a little better. There was one time during the very final game when it was like all down to the wire and she was playing heavy, I think. She started attacking from tower by herself, but even though she was the heavy, she would never leave fun box. She would just poke at you guys from all the way across third, and she would never go over there herself to start, bashing heads together.
You're already adjusting to Detroit too much.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like she's improved a lot. She still, I agree, struggles in the game sense, and so that causes her to almost question what she's doing, and it slows her down, and she becomes... She's the kind of player where if she gets penalized once for the next couple of games, she's so concerned about being penalized again that it'll inhibit her own gameplay, which is good because she doesn't get penalized, but bad because it can cost a lot of momentum and things like that.
Ironically, the whole team was cost on a penalty. There's a lot of things that could have got them the extra 100 points to win, but I did penalize her when she leaned around. Fun box to try to get you.
To be fair, Kyle also got one, so.
Yeah, exactly. There were a lot of factors.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. It wasn't just because of her. But if she would have been a little more confident and just walked over, even though your trail wasn't long enough, she could have got you.
Yeah, for sure. No, I agree with that.
While we move on to, let's see, she's now unLEASHa is her code name.
Oh God, yeah, right.
I think she significantly improved in the past season and started really taking on a play style of her own, which is always my favorite part to see in new players, when they begin to differentiate themselves from the basic style.
I think I do have to agree with that. Before this season, this last season at least, the previous season we didn't see a very big increase in player skill and game sense. I think it was not the team that was holding her back, but herself in that sense. She just didn't have the confidence since she was playing with certain players that just knew the game in a better sense, and she didn't want to disappoint anybody. But it was good to see her jump and just go for things this season. I think it helped a ton with her sense of game.
I think so too, and I think it helped that we just were not an incredibly serious team. We let everyone just play their play style.
Well, not only that, she's become better as a player in general. Her game sense has definitely gone up a lot, but her reaction speed, noticing where people are, call-outs, listening, she's just improving kind of overall. And she very much used to be one of those players when she started where someone would tell me, oh, she's behind you, and I knew I had a fast enough reaction speed to where she'd put one into me and I'd turn around and peg her before she got the second one in. And now she's someone where if they say, Alicia's behind you, I actually have to turn around and deal with it for a second before I can continue forward.
Because her resets are on point now. If she gets in, which she's starting to a lot, she just begins to come in when no one's expecting her and get everyone down.
She's
She'll
tiny,
just
dude.
Reset people.
She's tiny and she's quiet.
Yeah, she is. So I'm liking the assassin sort of playstyle she's starting to develop.
Yeah. On the opposite hand, Seth.
Oh, yeah.
The tall, lanky, looking over a wall at you from Funbox.
Yeah, that dude has some presence. He'll, vanish, then he'll show himself, deal some massive damage, and then disappear again.
What's the brothers? Terrell. He does the Terrell, where he can go from full standing to a squat, and, and it's so low that you don't expect him to be so far down. And you're like, all right, I just saw him looking over the wall. There's no way he's all the way on the... Why are you on the ground? What the... Where? How? But I think he's gotten a lot better. It's a lot of fun to play against him because his reaction speed has definitely gone up. And since he's gotten to play 3 hits more often, his confidence has gone way up. He's not just playing, resupplies with me anymore. He's actually getting to be aggressive. He's learning how to shot call. He's learning what to do in certain situations, and it's been a lot of fun to watch him grow as a player.
I definitely agree.
And I gotta say, for sure, recently Seth's broken it out now about 3 times. We call it the Seth Hustle.
Oh, yeah?
It's a little bit of a joke, but at the same time, that's some serious firepower he's bringing out.
It's terrifying.
If he can keep that stamina up for more than just like a game at a time, because he does it definitely takes a toll, tires him out. But if he could work on that stamina and get that stamina up for more games in a row, wow, would that be a powerhouse for any tournament we go to in the future?
Yeah.
Dude, definitely agree. He's just like this great combination of speed and brains. He can definitely outthink his opponent when he chooses to.
The last game of the season before we started finals, I don't remember who they were playing, but he got heavy. And as much as, like you said, we joke about the Seth Hustle, that was one of the few times I've ever heard Seth yell. Like, Seth was in, like, a zone, and he very quickly made, like, he got heavy, and he very quickly made it known that he was the heavy, and he just started stomping people left and right. And I think they wound up, I think it was against John's, Calkins' team.
It was indeed.
And I remember hearing the reaction to finding out Seth was heavy, where all of them went, ah! And, like, ran, I could see them running away from him because they just couldn't handle it because he was just moving that hard.
All right, let's move on to M3m3asaurus.
John Calkins.
Yeah. He's improved a lot in quite a short amount of time comparatively, honestly.
Dude, he's like one of the top players at our site, and he's only been playing for like a year. It's ridiculous.
This will actually be his first Nats tournament. Yeah, it's just like how you were when you first started. It's interesting because he can actually go for Josiah and I were talking about it. He can actually go for Rookie of the Year this year because this will be his first national tournament.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Because he's only participated in ECT and WCT. He hasn't actually done part in a Nats. Mm-hmm. And so it'll be interesting to see how other people react to him that haven't played up against him yet. Because technically he is a rookie, but like you said, he's one of our top players now.
And to elaborate on that, it's like he came in and he didn't have very much game sense, but the kid was fast. He was just like, he's a good height for any laser tag arena in the sense that he can easily duck down behind things. He's great at trading. He comes around corners, and his sprint is the fastest I've ever seen at our site. And then he started to develop that into learning the game and outsmarting people. And that's become a really scary combination. When he goes hard, he really messes up teams on offense. I think that's his strong suit, and that's where he needs to be.
Comparatively, in an honest sense, John is accelerating at a really nice rate, like you guys said. A year of playing, and he's already at that top-tier level, at our side at least. Mm-hmm. Watching him play has been quite a party. Like any of us, though, any of those top-tier players, there are a few things that need to be worked on.
Yeah, what do you think?
Every time you see that temper come out, it's destroying him.
It's killer.
That's always
the second he starts to work on that, I swear, it's going to be another one of those big jumps you see in a player where it's really exciting and it's really fantastic to see.
Uh-huh.
But, yeah, honestly, temperature control, I think that's one of the biggest thing right now for M3m3asaurus to work on. Once he gets that down, he's going to start improving again, and it's going to be really nice to see that jump.
Yeah, do you remember Sacramento when we were beating Detroit? And then when instead of Scythe getting upset at his team, he'd instead decided to turn on the gas and score 14K and pull his team out of the dirt by himself. If John can learn to do that instead of tilting when things aren't going his way, I'd be scared.
Honestly, it's a lot like how Princess Noah is in a sense, except Princess Noah, it's like a coin flip when he gets angry. Either he'll suddenly go really hard or he'll give up. Whereas with M3m3asaurus, he'll just kind of flop as soon as he starts to tilt. And if he can figure out how to turn, like, even just that temper into, all right, I'm going to go even harder now because I'm mad, then he would be even more frightening, in my opinion, like you said.
Yeah, if you're going to have that dark side rage, use it for battle.
And on the bright side of that, I do have to say, his recovery time is impressive.
Yeah.
He takes a break from a game, he'll walk outside, he'll return fresh and new, and honestly, he is such a blast to play with on teams. He really does. He gets you hyped up, he gets you excited, he has a really good team sense, and I enjoy that.
I was about to say, if he's tilted game 1, game 2, he'll be talking mad smack, but he'll be like, not confident, but he'll be trying to like cheer everybody up with it. And he'll be like, we can do this, let's get it, you know? Last but not least, Josiah.
The fear turkey /bagel / whatever he feels like at the time.
What a douche, gosh, right?
Yeah.
No.
What an ego, right? Josiah, in my opinion, is the top player at our site right now. And I don't really think that's disputable, as much as we may want to. I think statistically and like game sense and length of time he's played wise now, it's just he's become our top player. And
when you try to say his top player, it's like you got to do a scatter of like 100 different games. On average, he pulls it out the best. Has the game sense to come out of situations more often than most people.
Yeah. I don't really. His big problems, I would say, is if he gets put with players that he feels can't handle it, he likes to try and backpack really hard. And when he does that, he winds up desyncing with his team, and it can do a lot of damage more to him than to anything else. But when he feels confident with the team and when he feels synergized, or like he can trust his heavy, he can trust his resupplies, he can trust his scouts or his commander if he's playing scout, he becomes something fierce to deal with. Like, it takes almost two people sometimes just to deal with him as a scout.
Oh, I agree.
As Josiah is, and the player that he's become over the years, I do have to give a pretty big thanks to him. And before I do that, I can also agree with Joe and Luke. He is definitely the best player at the site. As much as I want to argue it, in the end, I can't. He's been playing longer. He's got that reaction time.
It's frighteningly fast.
He's got the whole 9 yards, and it's really good, and it's good to see him keep improving, but he gets in this mindset where he only improves at tournaments, and I wish that he could see that he improves out of those as well, just in different ways. But backtracking to my original statement, he is one of the main players that taught me how to play Space Marines, and I owe a lot of what my skill is today to him.
He honestly taught a lot of us in different ways.
He opens himself as a teacher to anybody who wants.
As someone who played pretty much resupplies, since that was the role that I kind of got slotted into, I didn't really get to play 3 hits or scouts until he was like, let's try this, because I want to see how you do on it. And I was like, okay. And he started just immediately throwing tips at me. Try this instead of this. Try that instead of this. Try. And it even wound up helping my resupply games, because suddenly when I was playing ammo, some of the things I was doing as a scout, some of the ways that I would trade, things that I would do to wait, etc., just really kind of stuck with me. And so he is one of the 3 people that I credit with teaching me really well how to play.
And you know what? I personally, my favorite thing about him is his intellect. When I watch him play chess, he's a monster at that. And you can just you can connect that to the way he thinks about Space Marines. He has the intellect for this game. And he gets in these mindsets where it's all or nothing, it's all on him, or he thinks about things one certain way, but that's because he actively tries to shape the game in new directions. He comes up with new strategies, decides, so look at this shot I just made up, or if we push at the same time and then do this and that, and I go high, you go low, like he comes up with some really creative ways to improve his gameplay.
Not only that, he's always looking for the new thing to do.
Exactly.
He's always trying to innovate the next thing that people are going to try and adapt to, because if you have to figure it out in a game, you don't have time to learn it and play against it at the same time. You have to either get stomped by it or you have to be able to handle it right away.
I always remember what Baden said about how there's always going to be that level of unpredictability winning you games. Like there's skill and then there's your strategy, but if you do something that the opponent's not expecting in game, that's usually the biggest way to just totally throw them off and win.
Yeah.
It works in our arena pretty well.
And as one of those final side notes, for me at least, one thing I do see from Josiah that I was talking about John earlier is the ability to get players into the game and really hyped up. Josiah does a lot of talking before the game about what he wants to see from himself and others, and he gets really excited, and he gets you really excited for those games. And I do really like to see that as well from players.
But the one big thing I'd say is I wish he'd stop fucking hurting his hamstring.
He keeps
hurting his hamstring because of those turkey legs.
Well, Joe, maybe if you would pay more attention to fantasy football, you would know that hamstring injuries take like about 8 months to fully recover.
Yeah, I know, and so I wish he would actually take the time to heal himself rather than shoving.
It's not an on and off thing. He needs to just sit down for a few months.
He's not capable of that, but I love him.
Which
hopefully
one
it
of us
doesn't.
are, right?
Yeah, right. I was about to say I probably could do it for maybe a week, and then
Sure.
I'd go stir crazy.
He's throwing flags. Fucker.
All right, we're going to call it there. Thanks, guys, for listening.